Hey, it's Joe Glass from Automator, another episode of what we automate with AutoHotkey. So I'm going to start, recently modified files. This is the one that launches a bunch of stuff. So we started get active path just to take account of the DPI. Turned on do not notify or do not disturb. Launched my recent modified files. Should be putting up my webcam here in a second. I forget what else it does, but it changed to the DPI. Launched my thing to remember the URLs that get added. Oh, here's my webcam reminder. We made a little adjustment to this tool, by the way. After last week's call, I realized with this tool that you can now see, I moved it in front of you here. I put it behind my webcam, but I could run it on a different computer and it was off screen. And I realized, hey, we should have a function that looks, when you launch a GUI where we're saving the location, most AutoHotkey GUIs launch to the center of the primary monitor. And if the location that we're saving is not on this computer, if it was on a different computer, but not, or let's say I disconnected the monitor or something, right? That location may no longer exist. So we programmatically now check on this webcam reminder to see if the location where it's showing here is visible. And if it's not, we will drop it into the primary, which now I understand that's my primary monitor over there because it started over there in the center. So anyway, we made an update to that. Let's see here. So Rob, we did some really good work for Rob. It was great. That client call. He said his company he works for, they're creating new tools using AI, but they're not involving the radiologist. And he said the new workflow, it's so painful, it's costing him like $1,000 a day in productivity, right? So in about 2 hours, we got him back to being at the productivity level that he was. And I know we could do a lot more if he wants to spend time with us. I mean, granted, we're no $1,000 a day in a fee, right? So he's the first part was low-hanging fruit, but there is other stuff we're going to be doing for him as well to help him be more productive, make more money. So some stuff, Project Cars. This is a racing game. Oh wait, what is this here? Controls for EVR demo. EVR demo. I forget what I was working on with this. Move this guy down a little here. EVR demo. So EVR demo, this was just the early stages. I was trying to see what my goal was, is can I actually use AI to automate our tools in a video to show, so we can record videos and have AI walk through how to use the tool. So even though we can use AutoHotkey to automate our AutoHotkey GUIs, I don't want it to just programmatically change, right? I want to have the mouse make it look like the mouse, even though we don't usually use mouse clicks. I wanted to make it look like we were using mouse clicks. So I was creating a function, this Win32 control automation. That's what this one is, basically making it look like the mouse is doing the work, and it's not a human, and moving it, like fast at first and slower like a real human does. So anyway, that's what I was working on. Compare files. So this is stuff we're doing for the race car driver, or not driver, but the automation. He has a bunch of race car games that it wants us to automate for him. Very high-end client with high-end customers. So our friend's been working on that. All the Paul stuff from Richard. It was funny. Richard, he's like an architect, and he had a CAD program, and he had used AI to generate some AutoHotkey code for automating and keeping track of his time. Unfortunately, it just, Irfan had to, I think, rewrite a lot of it. It still got us the idea of what he was trying to do, and it was interesting. But Irfan spent a couple hours rewriting that for him and got it working, and then he said he's going to reach back to us with more updates and changes to do. So that was all of his stuff. HK Script Maker, yeah, so we've actually launched the pro version of this as well. Our editor, I released 10 videos. Actually, that's another one I have to do is on the clipboard, because we fixed a little bug I was having on showing the clipboard stuff. But it's if you're doing stuff in AutoHotkey, it's a great editor. Yeah, it's I think $5.99 for the basic model and $12.99 for the pro, which comes with like 17 or 18 built-in tools. Very cool tool for developing code. It handles a lot of the setup stuff that other editors don't do, and makes it really easy to switch between like the V1, V2, and dev versions of AutoHotkey. It has built-in AutoHotkey. Oh, you just watch the videos. It's a really good tool. If you're new to AutoHotkey or you're doing up to intermediate things, it's a great editor for you. VS Code's great, but it's the Ferrari, and it's just, you know, it can be overwhelming at times. So I was doing some updating, which I think we'll get to a little bit later here, is with the Swim32 control syntax writer. So these are all updates. I watched a Nate Jones video talking about AI and how good the Claude Opus 4.6 model was, and that they had greatly increased the number of tokens it could take. So HK Scriptmaker was over 17,000 lines of code, and so I fed it to Claude and asked it for suggestions on what to fix. Some things might happen. So it came back with a lot of stuff. Some stuff we discussed during the hero call of should we do it, and some other stuff it came back and then it made it much snappier. It was really some really good fixes that we Irfan has woven into the editor. So now it's a little snappier, but it was a fun little thing to exercise to do. We made a lot of changes to our scintilla control library as well. So stuff. All right, Segmentation. Okay, this is. Let me see which one this one. Actually, I'm not sure from the name. I think that's the. This is the one that we're working on. This is the one that I wrote. So last week I showed you. I was talking about. I think I helped a neighbor across the street that was doing auctions, live auctions, and she had a 2-hour and something like 50-minute video, and you know she just talked through everything. And so she didn't ask for any of this. I came back home. I downloaded her video. I took the first 30 minutes of her video. This is all I did manually. So I downloaded the video. I extracted the first 30 minutes because I have some software that will help with that. Then I took that, transcribed it because we have our transcriber tool. I took the transcriptions, fed it to Claude or ChatGPT, I forget which one, and asked it to say, hey, identify the common themes. And actually, let me see if I should have a transcription file here because we can see how it's going to work. This version will work. So here's a hero call. It's an hour long. Oh, but I need the transcription. Here we go. Here's a transcription, so that should work. I'm going to drag it there. So this is the transcription file. Now, well, I'll explain here in a second. I'm going to hit analyze, extract. It's going to be the code. Great. So this takes the transcription, sends it off to AI. Now, behind the scenes, and I think I can still do this, I have a prompt. Oh, maybe not. I have a prompt where this is the part that you can change, and this is the part that you can't change, but you can tell it the certain thing you want it to do, right? So it's looking for segments that could be identified individually and kind of to extract them, and then we have the timestamps. So now we come back in here, we have the name, Valentine's Day greetings. That's hilarious. That's how we started off. So that would give me from 2 seconds to 49 seconds. It gives us each of the segments of what we talked about. This is working code because I have this library that will go extract these pieces for us. And I can choose extract or render. The render would actually do a better job. It's hard to explain FFmpeg and how it works and stuff, but it takes 1,000 times longer to run. This just rips them out and you're done instantly. This one takes a lot longer. But what I realized, I created this and I said, hey, this is great, but this script, I would have to, like here, the source, I would have to give it the path to the actual file. Why should I do that? Why don't I tie this all together where we drag a video file into here and it will go transcribe it and do this step for us? And so that's what we're working on in this tool. Irfan has started on it, and the other, actually, I don't know how he, so, okay, so he's put the drop down. So we still have a prompt, preferences. That's interesting. That's not where I expected that to be there. I don't know what happened to the prompt. I know he did it, but and then we have, hey, kind of like what your goal. I asked him to break up the goal and like a skill level, so it could be any. This will mean to just ignore it on both of these. But maybe I'm looking for very short clips, right? So it's gonna change the prompt in the background because the overall goal probably isn't going to change too often, but the length of the time you're looking for, that might change very frequently. So I wanted a simple way to do that. So this, you drag a video or audio file to it, and then have your prompt ready, and it will go extract these clips and go create them, right? So it actually gives you a list view first here. So imagine, did I kill that? No. Imagine this list view populated like with the time, maybe the length of what it'll be, and the name of the topic, right? So that's what will be here is like the name. I think we should have the start and end time and total length would be good to have, so I'll have to let them know about that. And basically it's going to go generate those for us. So yeah, very, very cool little tool we're working on. I think by early next week we should have that done, or at least a working version of it. So yeah, so that was lots going on there. We also, interestingly enough, we use Assembly AI for our transcriptions, and OpenRouter is a great endpoint which allows you to use different models. There's like over 300, maybe more than that by now, models that you can choose from. So you can choose Gemini or ChatGPT or Android, Anthropic's Claude models. You can choose almost any model you want. So it's great, but we still use Assembly AI, which is not in that list, to do the transcriptions. And so I thought, hey, why don't we look at OpenRouter and see if we can do it for transcriptions? And first, their list of stuff that they choose from didn't show transcriptions at all. And then I found a help file somewhere which says, well, you can still send it an audio file and have Gemini do transcriptions through OpenRouter. So we did that. And I'm like, oh, look, I got either OpenRouter and ChatGPT. I got them both to do transcriptions. But the timestamps weren't very accurate. And Irfan reminded me, in Assembly AI, our class gets the timestamp of every word spoken and builds the SRT word by word. So that's why ours is far more accurate, apparently, than what theirs was. So we couldn't push it all under OpenRouter, which was the goal. So now we still are going to have 2 API keys, which is a bummer because people have a hard enough time with one, right? But if we help them set it up, it's not a big deal. But yeah, you get the idea. So here's our control syntax writer. Yeah, I added additional methods. See if I can start this bad boy. So, and here I'll just drag it onto this list view. Up. We got to uniquely identify it. So it makes sure it gives you code. And here are the different actions, methods I can do with this list view, right? So I could get the text of it. And actually, let's add it. This is going to give me the code, and I can hit test, and it's going to run that. So for whatever was on, it didn't happen. Let me see if I can get it from here. Click, get text, add test. There we go. So just pulled it up. Now, this is the code that you could run to go get that text or set the text if I wanted to, right? I could change this to set text and rerun that, right? Or I could change it to click or to enable. Let's do like, oh, I don't want to disable. That'd be bad. Hide. Ooh, that I don't know. Actually, boy, if I do hide, I'll have to do show, but it'll be, well, yeah. I'm going to leave it alone. You get the idea, though. This is a syntax writer that gives you the code. Here we add this here. You need to save this library somewhere and then have it include to it. Ours, it knows where ours is, so I don't need this for this testing thing. But when you put this into your own script, you'll want to have that include once. But after you include it once, you don't need to include it. So learn your functions. Our Intro to AutoHotkey course is great at doing that. But this is such a great way to, you can see there's lots of things that you can do in understanding. Each of these things might have a slightly different method in AutoHotkey they're going to call. And this is why we just built a GUI to help automate that process. So what I did was initially we had like 6 or 7 methods because we were hand coding all this and making it easy. But I realized the other day, I'm like, hey, with AI should be able to do this for us. So it went and added, it depends on what you click on, right? Like the target window, depending on what you click on, will have different methods available. So let me try the webcam. So that looks like maybe it has a bit more. Our desktop shouldn't even be a Win32. It'll tell you also, oh, looks like it was. Yeah, fewer in that one. I don't think I can drop it on itself, even though technically it should be able to handle it. I think we built it into where it couldn't do that. But you get the idea. Very cool tool. We have a couple tools that are syntax writers. The old menu syntax writers for menus at the top of your screen that are, if they're the old Win32 controls, we can automate those. Not by sending keystroke, but doing from API approaches, sending post messages, I think. Control syntax writer. So here are the add method stuff, drive creator. So I just gave this to Connie to test. Let me start it up here. Now we have options. So not only can you create a fake drive, so like, let's see here. Here's the S drive is a fake drive. And not only can you create the drive, but now you can give it a label and give it an icon. So here's the icon path, here's the label. And if I bring over, explore, actually, let's bring a screenshot. That's just so much easier. So you'll see here, now it's so easy for me to spot the Automator. It's the A drive, and I can have the label. I can have the an icon. So for each of these, I have now icons and letters or whatever you want, right? I could put an icon of a race car or something if I want. Doesn't matter. But it's very cool because these are things that I use very often. So I create fake drives for shortcuts to things I work on a lot, right? And it makes it so that's one of the big benefits. The second benefit is if you're working with a team, you all have the same paths. So this S drive, this is the drive that we put all of our scripts on for me, Irfan, and Isaias right now. And we all access the same, we have the same paths to the same files, and it just greatly streamlines us trying to work with each other's stuff, right? So very cool script. Up until recently, I didn't have a way to automate putting in the label and the icon. Thankfully, Connie, a hero member, found a way that worked for him and that didn't work for me, and it took me some time, well, I shouldn't say me, Grok, I think, solved it, of the why at times it did and didn't work. So anyway, this new label icon, that's not in the released version yet. Connie's going to test it too, and I think the guys have tested it. I'm not too sure. But I'm really glad we got that in there, because having an icon, and if I have an icon, I don't even read anything. I just use the icon as a visual, guide. This media shrinker, so this is so cool. So silence room, let me start with it. So I was like, hey, I forget what. Oh, it was the segmentation tool. I was realizing, hey, we kind of, actually, Ryan Wells, a buddy of mine, he kind of explained it where he's like, he's like, I don't, because he knows I don't watch football, right? He's like, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I did see the highlight reel. And the Super Bowl was like, I don't know what it was, 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever. It's a crazy number. But he's like, in 6 minutes, I watched the highlights. And he's like, what you're doing here with the segmentation tool could also just be, go get the highlights, go get the important parts, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's really interesting. And so then I was like, it's a way of speeding up watching a video. And that got me thinking about, well, I know a long time ago we looked into removing audio, removing silent parts from a video using either AI, like the I just said, removing those and silence parts. Now, of course, if you're teaching programming and you're sharing your screen, you may not be talking, right? So we wouldn't want to do it on those. But a lot of Zoom calls where people aren't sharing the screen, they just want to, they're just talking, this would work great. So I did remember that FFmpeg has a silence detector. So initially, I had AI write this tool, and I could drag in an audio or video file. You can tell it what are you looking for. So this is the minimum, and I actually told it to put it in a drop down. It did radio buttons, but that's fine. And then it has a level of noise. So this would mean it has to be perfectly quiet. So the stupid traffic that you occasionally hear, it would stop it from being flagged as empty, silent. Or over here, and we would probably still pull stuff because it's in the background, but it's kind of low, right? And I can just hit remove silence and it goes and works. But wait, there's more, because I realized this is cool, but what would really be cool is another thing I was dabbling with was, hey, with FFmpeg, not only can we remove the silence, so here now it turned it into, it moved the noise floor up here. I have the same, now it is in a drop down like I asked because I needed more space, right? So we'll say 2 seconds. But I can also, after it pulls out the silence, I can speed up the video that it creates or audio file that it creates. So if you have stuff you're trying to listen to and you're like, oh, for the love of God, get to the point. When you remove the silence, I did it on a video. I don't think I have it because I'd play it, but I did a 2x and I removed the silence. And it was so crazy fast because without the silence between things, 2x is really fast. So I think I'm going to drop this down to be 1.25 maybe up to 1. Well, I'll cap it at 2 because anything more it would be crazy, right? So this really shrunk the video and audio file because you're removing both time and anything that was like an hour, it'd be 30 minutes if you did the 2x, right? So you're removing the gaps where people aren't talking, and you're condensing how fast it goes. And it was creating a very small file, which some people might want, right? So very cool little tool. Also, all the coloring and stuff, I didn't tell it any of this. I think it's in my general instructions, and it's creating kind of snappier looking, more modern looking things, even though you can still see they're still the same old buttons, right? But it's very cool. This is the fix off-screen position that I just mentioned with the webcam reminder. So here's the old menu syntax writer. I don't know why we changed that. Oh, I know. Let me launch it real quick. So here, let me bring up not Studio. Boy, that's hilarious. I said that, HK Studio. I haven't used that in years now. So here is our script editor. It has the older style window. So I'm just going to drag this to here. And here we can see all of the things you can do from menus. What's really interesting is I think if I control double click this, yeah, I can trigger. And if you notice, it's not coming up under options and changing the dark theme. It's not, there's no menu flick because that's a post message. And actually, let's see here, change dark theme. If I just double click it, here's the code. So that's a post message, which I'll paste here so you can see it, which will programmatically trigger that. I can't emphasize that enough. It programmatically does it without any keystrokes, any mouse movements, anything, right? So it's a far superior way. So I was trying to outline the features we have in HK Script Maker, and I was like, oh, how am I going to get a list of all? We built a lot of stuff into this. And so one of the things Zerfin suggested was using this tool to get a list of it, right? And then I can feed it to AI and have it help me organize it. But at the time, I had no way. I'd have to get one at a time. And so I went back into this tool and built this button so I can export it. Let me see, where's that going to save it to? So now I'm going to bring this file over. I don't know why it gave it that name. I should have paid more attention. But here is that file. And here's, by the way, the ID for each one if I did want to use this to still write the syntax. But now I have the text of every menu item there, which is really cool. So, hey, if you want to learn what HK Script Maker can do, here's one way you can look, at least from the menus, the options you have available. But yeah, it was a very cool idea. So a nice little update to our old menu syntax writer. And let's get back into here. I think we're nearing the end. Connie had, oh yeah, our download for this one. I highly recommend if you're using Windows Explorer a lot and you have files that have folders that have lots of files in them, this speed up Explorer viewing, it's a great way to speed up Explorer viewing. He had a problem with the downloads. I think Irfan has fixed that. Ultimate Spy, that's a crazy powerful tool we have for deciding which approach to take, and has built-in tools for us. Fix off-screen window position, that's the same one I mentioned before. Here's our webcam reminder that we applied it to. Yeah, and that was it. So very good, fun week. We've been talking more and more about AI in the hero calls and using AI, obviously most of the time for programming in AutoHotkey, but not always. But if you want to learn more about programming and just want to hang out with a bunch of guys having some fun, consider the club, man. It's a great deal. Cheers.